Alright, welcome. If you're new to the channel, my name's Elliott and you're watching Rickety Ski Reviews. Today, we're going to be answering more of your questions and comments, going through the comment section, helping you guys out. As I always say, now is the best time to buy skis. In fact, normally a month ago would have been the best time to buy skis, but I think that there is some inventory issues going on because there are still a ton of deals online. So I want to help you guys. This is when I buy skis. This is when I think is kind of the most effective time to answer questions. So that's what I want to do. Oh, and we also had one really unhinged comment from Unofficial Networks on my review or my reaction of their Peak 104 review. Their Peak 104 review was like 3 minutes and it really didn't say anything. It was just kind of like, oh yeah, they're pretty good. To be fair, it did show it in a wide variety of snowpack. Like, it had some powder, it had some trees, it had some groomed runs, but it was not a very helpful review. It didn't talk about its carving, it didn't talk about the flotation. The whole review was like pretty much, yeah, they're pretty good. And Unofficial Networks has no other ski reviews, so there's nothing to contrast. It was a very bizarre review. It was very bizarre, like, content, and the comment was even more bizarre. Unofficial Networks replied, "You make a 24-minute video ripping me and say you are going to war with us because I made a 2-minute video saying I liked a pair of skis? Cool, man. Best of luck to you." I don't think your tenses are right. It should be you made a 24-minute video review and said, I don't know. The tenses are a little weird in that sentence. I don't really know anything about Unofficial Networks. I think Zach knows somebody who knows somebody that knows these people because they're out of Tahoe. But whoever you are, Unofficial Networks, and I've got no personal beef with you. I don't know you, so like I can't have an opinion about you on a personal level. But the review just wasn't very helpful. If people are trying to buy skis, they want to know more about the build. They want to know more about like how the skis feel on snow. They want to know the good and the bad. It's not really a review unless you talk about the downsides of the ski. I don't have a problem with you, and the going to war thing is just, you know, that's YouTube. That's how you title things in thumbnails, you know, to draw an audience. It's always over dramatized. But I do take issue with the review. I don't think it was very helpful for consumers. I think that you had access to a ski that most people can't get their hands on, but there's a ton of interest because it's a new brand by Bodhi. And I think you just could have given us more in-depth analysis of the skis. Obviously, you're a good skier. You did a good job in the powder. So I'm not going to war with you. That's just kind of a funny title. But I do think you could do a better job with your reviews, and I think that it's really not fair to consumers to squander an opportunity like that. I think if you have a ski and you have access, then you kind of owe it to people who want to buy the ski to at least give them a little bit more analysis. You had lots of good variety of ski footage on the skis. Now pair that with some insightful opinions on the ski. You know what I mean? Like, what's the point of a ski review if people can't get an idea of how the ski actually feels on snow? Other than the, yeah, it's pretty good on everything. So yeah, the other thing I will say, if you want a little extra dose of criticism, this comment is unhinged. I have had other channels leave comments like this, and I usually give them a grace period for them to walk it back or delete it. And I'm really surprised after 2 weeks you didn't delete this comment. It was just, I don't know. It's a little bit embarrassing. I don't have any personal hatred for you. I don't have any dislike. I don't want you to be unsuccessful. Like, in the ski space, I'm actually like pulling for you guys. I think it's cool that you guys make content, and I used to read your articles. But this content, like, just isolated in a chamber, not looking at your past, this ski review was bad. It was not a good ski review. It did not cover any of the cons. It didn't really go in depth enough. It was, in my opinion, a lazy ski review, and I stand by that, right? The proof is in the pudding. The content you put out with a 2 or 3 minute ski review really didn't say much. So, I don't know. I'm surprised you kept this comment up. It's not a great look. And if you think I'm not going to be petty enough, I am the most petty person. It's a bad look. It was bad content. I know you guys can do better. Like, you got some great ski shots, but you didn't provide any insight for people. And in my opinion, I don't know. I don't know what you were doing with that review. I don't know what you're doing with this comment. Anyway, that's the last time I'm going to talk about this. All right, on my Blackcrows Octo review, Steven He4IW says, on a day where you start the morning carving on piste and then go to glades from lunch till the end, are you picking the Octo or the Mirus Cor? That is a really good question. I've been thinking about it for the last couple hours since you commented it. I think that's a really tricky question on purpose, because if I was on the groomed runs carving, I would want the Octo. It just stands on the tail better. It's more stable at high speeds. It's a more fun ski for me. If you were on a really short hill with not a lot of room, then the Octo might have a little bit of an edge, but I just enjoy carving a lot more on the Octo. And it does okay in the trees, but I think the Mirus Cor actually has a slight advantage for washed up quick turns, like in glades. Glades, if you're from the west and not as familiar or just don't know the term, glades is like in the east you have trees that are really close together and you're in the woods. It's a little different than tree skiing out west. It's just much closer together, much quicker turns. And I do think that Mirus Cor actually would probably do a little bit better in the East Coast glades, at least what I would see at Burke, Vermont, because it can wash out the tails a little bit easier. That tail can kind of slide around a little bit more. They're both probably fine, but the Mirus Cor has a slight advantage in the glades, and that's kind of a use case I hadn't thought of. So great question. Overall, I still like the Octo more. I just like that carving performance, and that's something that I prioritize more, so I personally would go with the Octo. But if you like freestyle, if you like really quick little glade turns, sure, Mirus Cor might suit your needs there. And as always, just, if you're able to, try both of them. That, there's no substitute for that. But I hope that helps at least you narrow it down a little bit. All right, the next comment comes from Polar Sled. They say 98 millimeters versus 93 millimeters. 5 millimeter difference is about 3/16. That isn't much. We get hung up on small numbers. It's more about the shape and the materials. The difference in widths between an 84 millimeter and 88 millimeter ski? Nothing, LOL. I too fall for it. I buy every width I don't have because it's a mind game. Laughing emoji. Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, you are right on the money with there's a lot that goes into it, shape and materials. I will say though, if you're just looking at two skis that have a similar shape, let's say the head core line, you go from the 93 to the 99, that 6 millimeter width, you do feel quite a lot just because that shape takes a lot of different characteristics when it's stretched out versus the 93. So you are kind of right, but I will say that there are width differences on certain shapes of skis that you do feel a big difference in. The other thing I'll say is that when you have a ski that goes from 93 to 98, sometimes if that opens up the radius enough and your ski hill is shaped in a way where you have to wash out your turn to make the turn, or if the fall line's a certain way, it actually does affect it quite a lot, because now I'm not able to complete my carved turn. In a vacuum, it's not a lot of difference, but if it makes it so you have to really significantly change your turn shape, then yeah, I think it does actually make a big difference. But there are kind of thresholds. Like you said, an 84 to an 88, you might not really notice it because, it's not changing the edge to edge that much, or you're kind of doing the same turn shape anyway with ski to ski. But as you get into some of those wider widths, 93 to 99, I'm telling you, on the head core, you feel that radius difference, at least at Bogus Basin where I ski, because 99 can't quite make those turns, can't quite take those blind corners coming off of Paradise at the very end. So it is noticeable depending on the use case and depending on how much you care about carving. If carving is a really high priority to you, you're going to notice the difference in edge to edge time as you get more mileage, especially on a daily driver. On kind of a safe bet to powder ski, you might not notice it as much because you're not getting as many turns. But for me, on a daily driver, like an Atomic Maverick 88 to an Atomic Maverick 95, I notice that difference a lot because I like to make a lot of slalom to GS radius turns. And the more mileage you get, the more you notice something. It's like a car. If you've ever had something where you went on a test drive and you didn't really notice it, but then you drive that car for 5 years, suddenly every day you're maybe the little visor's broken. The first time you drive it, you might not even notice or care. After 5 years of driving it, it might drive you nuts. So anyway, I'm very particular about certain things. I think you are right overall, but depending on the use case, some people really will notice this stuff a lot. All right, this comment is from It's Dan L. They say, thanks for the reviews. What are your lengths for Salomon QST 106? I'm 6'2", 175 pounds, and was considering buying them, but I'm only finding either the 173 or 189. Do you think the 189 could work for me? I'm an advanced level skier. Thanks. Yeah, that's a great question. My QST 106s, I'm 6'1", and I have them in a 182. If you're a really advanced skier, you could probably get by with the 189. It just depends on what you want to do. Like, as that radius gets more open, it's more kind of floaty and fun in the powder. But if you get into the bramble, the quick turns, you may find that takes a little bit of work to get over. 189 might work. Definitely 173 is going to be too short for you. I don't know. I have a whole video about ski height. Even if you can't find them on sale, I would prioritize getting the right size rather than getting a good deal. I love a good deal, but there's no substitute for the right size. I would go 182. I think 189 would probably be fine, but it just depends on your comfort in the powder. And I hope that was helpful. Thank you so much for your comment. I think 189 will be fine, but I don't know. Just be cautious, I guess. If you're really like new to powder and you need a quick turn radius, I would maybe go for the 182, 183. But if you're pretty confident in your ability, I think 189 should probably be fine, especially at 6'2". Like my next pair of powder skis will probably go up to 188 like you're talking about. But if you aren't someone who likes to work super hard in the powder and you want to be able to do quick turns in the trees, go with a 182 or maybe just look at a different ski. So anyway, that's the end of the video. If you like this kind of content, please consider liking and subscribing. That's a free way to support the channel. I'll also have links to all the skis I'm talking about down below. But as always, more than anything, just thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for taking time out of your day to watch this content. It means a lot to me. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. See ya.